Hey friends, fellow explorers, James Hillman here. So if you spend any amount of time in the wild, whether you're hunting, hiking, or exploring, there's gonna come a time when you're gonna wanna either cross a creek or ford a river. And let me tell you that there's some good ways and some bad ways to do that. Today, I'm gonna show you some good ways. And in the end, we'll get across with our gear and our pride intact. Okay, here we are Riverside. And before we get into the how, we're gonna ask ourselves the most important question today. Do I really need to do this? Because if I don't need to do this, maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe my skills aren't up to it. Maybe I don't wanna get that wet and cold today, and I don't wanna risk my gear. Now, for the purposes of education, we're gonna do this, and we picked this spot because it has enough different conditions to it that we can play around a little bit, and maybe I will get really wet. But the key thing I'm asking myself when I do this is down behind me here, you're gonna see that, well, right here, it's pretty fast. But further down, it slows right down into a pool, and it's only not even knee deep at that point. So if it goes wrong and I lose my footing and go for a swim, I can easily walk to shore. Dry off and go home and think about this. So another thing to consider is what is downstream. This pool is good that it's downstream, but if there was logs or a big hole or anything nasty like that, do not cross at that point. You want to make sure that you're planning for failure, okay? That's the key thing to keep in mind here, because if you fail, it's gonna get ugly real fast, okay? So then we're gonna ask ourselves, what's the best spot to cross? So please excuse the sun here in the late afternoon, but we can see right here, way too fast. We can maybe give it a go if it was a canyon, but I don't think we want to do that today. But up above that, we've got a little bit more of a shallow spot right here. And I think that'll be a pretty good spot to get across and at least make it interesting for you guys. And we can review technique at that point. Okay, so in a moment, we're gonna take our boots off and talk about footwear. Okay, so we talked about should we cross or why are we even doing this? And then we talked a little bit about where to cross. And most importantly, pick a spot that if you fail, the consequences are minimized as opposed to maximized. Okay, the next order of business is our feet, because there's a good chance you didn't really plan for this moment. Now, if you did, you brought, hopefully, either a pair of sandals or some aqua shoes. Astral footwear makes killer shoes that are good for this kind of thing. And then they're great for walking in too afterwards. So that's good on a portage or something like that. Today I'm gonna use these level 6 aqua whitewater shoes, whatever they call them. They're comfy and they're grippy on the bottom. Now, if you didn't have that, hopefully you have a pair of these. These are smart wool socks and they're really thick. What I would do in that situation, I would take my normal socks off and boots off, and I put these on my feet. Because I want to protect them a little bit, because the pain that you're putting your feet through, if you have pain in your feet and you have tender feet like I do, and you're focused on protecting your feet, well, you're not focused on getting across safely, because you're going to lose your footing and then you're going to go for a swim and that's going to suck. So happy feet means you're going to get across safely. Okay, so I'm going to put these on. We've picked this spot not because it's ideal, it's pretty fast here. I wouldn't normally cross here, but I want to use this area to illustrate just how important the stability triangle is and kind of where the touch and go moment is regarding water depth and water current, or the speed the water is moving past you. So first order of business, no straps. Undo your buckles. buckles done up when you go for a swim is bad business because your pack is gonna drag you down. Worst case scenario, you kick this off, okay? So we've got these nice and loose too. We want it just kind of hanging on there, maybe out of the water. Okay, next is that I believe in the pointing upstream technique. The reason I like pointing upstream is what'll happen is, and we'll show you here in a moment, is as you step down, your leg is absorbing. It's almost like you're walking uphill. The current is so strong it pushes you back like gravity, but it also pushes your feet back into the rocks behind you. In fact, let's see if I can show that to you. Let's hit play. Yeah. So what'll happen is as you step, that current pushes your foot backwards, okay, and makes you way more stable. And that's a big deal when the current's going fast, okay? So it's cold out here, let's get moving. Okay, so working my way across, staying stable. You could do this, not with a hiking pole, but with one of those big old Gandalf sticks. You're gonna want a triangle or a pair of poles. Don't try this without a pole or a stick. If you have to, go get yourself a stick. And you can see, this is fast water. So I'm really fighting the current right now. Maybe should have went up further. And I'm gonna try to get an image. Yep, this is pretty fast. Okay. I can get a stable spot here. Yeah, all right, there we go. We'll just get an image where you can see the water piling. We're recording, yeah, you can see the water piling on the front of my legs. There's a bit of force going on here, folks. And you can see how my feet are dug in. And that water is pushing me right back against the rocks. Not the wisest spot to cross, but like I said, worst case scenario, I go for a little swim and you guys get a chuckle. So at this point, big rock, I'm pretty much maxed out in terms of depth. This current any deeper, I don't know if I could hold off against the current. And this is why you gotta have happy feet. Stable triangle, happy feet. Yeah. Let's see. Whew. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I took all my camera gear out of this pack. It's virtually empty. It's just kind of for show at this point. I should have brought a thermometer just to illustrate how freaking cold this is. Okay, can, cross, step, step, step. Yeah. Okay, now I gotta get back to you. Okay. That's some serious current, folks. Ow, my toes. I couldn't imagine doing this barefoot. There's just like no way. I would have turned around. Ooh, it's deep here. Like, holy, like, you gotta see that. Like, that is waist deep, just pounding on me there. Oh shoot. Man, that's strong right there. Like, oh, I'm leaning forward into the stick, like barely able to step forward. It's so tempting to let go of the stick. try to use my balance. And it's like 1, 2, together. 2, together. Okay, I sure hope the camera was turned on, because this will suck if I didn't hit record. Oh, folks, that's cold. Okay. All right. Okay, so, one moment. Let's turn this off. Is it off? Who knows? Okay, there you have it, folks. Remember, ask yourself, should you do this? Do you really need to do it? If you do, good footwear, because otherwise you're gonna lose a nail. I think I did actually. And make sure you stay stable. You gotta stay stable. You don't stay stable, you're going for a swim. Okay, until next time, hey, maybe hit the subscribe button or that little bell thing underneath it, because I'm really inconsistent. And well, until then, you folks stay wild, keep exploring.